Senator, the idea of canceling conservatives, it almost sounds like a cliche now, but it's evolved into something quite sinister in the early days of the Biden administration, and you have been in their target zone.
Well, yeah, I certainly have, Laura, and it's a privilege to be so because I'm just doing my job representing the people of Missouri. And I can tell you right now, I am not going to back down and bow down before the woke leftist mob. I'm not going to be canceled. I refuse to cower and live in fear. I'm going to call out their lies when they tell them, which is a lot these days. And I'm going to keep doing my job to represent the people of Missouri.
Former CIA Chief John Brennan, Senator, is totally, it would shock you to hear tonight, on board with targeting Americans.
This threat from domestic violence extremists is much more challenging, I believe, than it was in terms of going after foreign terrorists. We were going after Al-Qaeda or other types of terrorist groups, cells here in the United States. Their numbers were in the single digits of dozens, and it was finding needles in a haystack. Here, there are a lot of haystacks with a lot of needles in them.
Senator, your reaction to that tonight?
Frightening, very, very frightening. Of course, the remarks that individual has made, the hysterical ranting that he does on a regular basis is extremely frightening. And the idea that he was ever in charge of intelligence assets of any kind in this country is deeply, deeply troubling. Let me just say this, Laura, about this DHS bulletin. If they have specific, credible, actionable intelligence, then they should act on it. But if this is just some attempt to amass power and to go after the civil liberties of law-abiding Americans, we're going to have a big, big problem. I think the DHS as a department under Biden already has a lot of questions to answer. Congress needs to perform its oversight role here because this is very, very troubling.
Well, disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok, he wants you to believe that men and women in uniform at the core really can't be trusted.
We need to understand what has happened to radicalize various people, particularly not only in our society, but specifically within law enforcement and the military. They tend to skew conservative. They are strong law and order. And there are certain elements of that who are going to fall victim to these sort of fantasies or these rather extremist ideas, including taking up violence.
Senator Hawley, Peter Strzok, the font of all that is moral and right.
Yeah, this is somebody who probably ought to be in prison. I mean, Peter Strzok has violated, as multiple investigations have shown, numerous laws. This is a guy who lied under oath repeatedly. This is somebody who lied to the FISA court to get wiretaps during a presidential campaign. I mean, the guy's a professional liar. And think about the fact that he was in charge of an FBI investigation. He and a small group at the FBI that targeted the former president, targeted their associates. Is the greatest abuse of FBI power in my lifetime. And now these people are giving lectures. I mean, Laura, this has got to stop, and we've got to take a stand for the First Amendment and for civil liberties in this country.
Well, Senator, I want to get into specifically what the FBI could be doing tonight, given this edict, okay? Does that mean anyone who posted on Facebook about mail-in ballots and getting together with other like-minded citizens because they were concerned about it, election integrity, are they potential terrorists, domestic terrorists? People, again, they cited before, pro-life people, radicalized on single-issue voters. That was what Janet Napolitano said all those years ago. I mean, this opens up a potential domestic spying operation on the social media posts and emails and texts of innocent Americans. They admit they have no evidence. They admit it.
Yeah, and we have seen this movie before, Laura, and that we've seen law enforcement use these kind of vague threats as an excuse for a crackdown on civil liberties, and that's really what worries me. Again, I say again, if there is specific, incredible, actionable intelligence, then they should take specific action. But if these vague threats, I mean, they need to justify what they're doing here. And I think we've got to be wary of targeting law-abiding Americans, taking away civil liberties, punishing political viewpoints. I mean, this is scary stuff. I tell you what, it's not unity. I mean, Joe Biden talks about unity.
No,
this isn't unity. This isn't an attempt. It is a joke. This is an attempt just to silence opposition.
Hakeem Jeffries, a good pal of yours over in the House, has spoken out on you and your supposed role in January 6th, saying that basically you're the ringleader. Your reaction to him tonight?
I haven't seen his comments, but that does not surprise me. The hysteria and the lies coming from the left. And let's just call out what they are, Laura. These are lies. The idea that leading a Democratic debate on election integrity on the floor of the Senate is akin to violence, that's a lie. Saying that it's an attempt to overturn an election, that's a lie. Saying that it's an incitement to violence, that's a lie. Those are all deliberate lies. The people telling them know they're lies, and they're doing it to try to silence political opponents. That is wrong. That is un-American. It is unconstitutional. And I'm not going to stand for it. And I'm not going to be intimidated by it.
And Senator, I saw the report tonight that your donations are actually picking up quite a bit. Some corporations might have stepped aside, but it looks like small donors stepped in. Big story tonight about that we saw. So that's not making your opponents happy tonight either.
No, and I can just tell you that we have seen, since these attacks and these attempts to silence conservatives, we've seen a huge surge in support just from ordinary folks who are just saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to be silenced. I want to go out there and support them.
Well, they have some common sense. Senator, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.